Now we're ready to solve absolute value equations. Now the following are simple absolute value equations and the reason behind their possible solution or solutions. I have the absolute value of x is equal to 3. Well, in order for this to be true, x could be 3, because absolute value of 3 is 3, or x could be negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3 would equal 3. So if I have an absolute value of an expression equals a positive number, then more than likely I'm going to have two answers. If absolute value of x is equal to 0, my only possibility is that that inside part is equal to 0, since absolute value of 0 equals 0. If I have absolute value of an expression equals a negative value, we have no solution. This goes against the definition of absolute value because absolute value is technically asking how far is this thing from 0. It's a distance. Distance is positive. So we have some examples. It says check the solutions and graph. Well, the first thing, I've got to solve whatever inside here equals 3. Now, this is sort of similar to what we had just a second ago. This inside could be 3, but it could also be a negative 3. So you pull out the expression from the inside of the absolute value bars without changing it and set it equal to the positive and negative version of the value it's equal to. So let me see what the expression is. Okay, so absolute value of x plus 1 is equal to 3. So first thing I'm going to do is set it equal to a positive 3. And then we're also going to set it equal to a negative 3. And we solve that equation. So I'm going to subtract 1. So that will give me x equals 2. And on this one I'm going to subtract 1 and it'll give me x equals negative 4. So x could be 2 or x could be negative 4. If you put 2 back in, that would give me 3. Absolute value of 3 is 3. That is what I intended the inside to be to start with. If you put in negative 4, you have absolute value of negative 3. Again, that is what I intended. Now I'm going to graph this because I want you to see what happens. I'm going to type in the absolute value of x plus 1. So we did this before. So I'm on y equals. Let me go to math, over to num for absolute value, and type in that expression, x plus 1. Remember, left-hand side goes into y1, and right-hand side goes into y2. That should be a horizontal line. This should give me a v. So let's see what happens. There's the v. Now, if you'll notice, it hits in two places. I have two answers. So let's try the second trace, number 5 for intersect. Now, if you remember, when we did this before, it only hit once. The equations did. Well, this one hit twice. So let me move it to my first intersection. Hit enter, enter, enter. So negative 4, that's that solution. So I've got to do it again because it hits again. So second trace for calc menu number 5. And let's move it over there. Keep your finger down on that. Whoa, went too far. You'll get there faster. You'll be able to see your cursor move. I can't see the one on the screen move. So enter, enter, enter. So x equals 2. That's my other solution. Okay. So let's see what else we have. We got solve the following. So absolute value is equal to 0. Well, 0, there's only one possibility. So I pull this out, the absolute value, and set it equal to 0, and I solve. So I'm going to add 7, divide by 2. So my answer should be x equals 7 halves. If you substitute this back in, you'll get inside 0, which is what was intended, and the absolute value of 0 is 0. Alright, this one, I've got a positive. Remember, this inside could be a positive 15 or a negative 15. Don't change the signs. So, let's see if I set it equal to positive and negative, and then you solve the resulting equations. And if you'll notice, the same steps are going to be applied to both sides. I'm going to first subtract 3 from all sides, and on the one on the left I'm going to have 12, the one on the right I'm going to have negative 18, and then divide both sides by 6. So x could be 2 or x could be negative 3. Again, if you substitute in, you'd end up with either a positive 15 or negative 15. Okay? Another one. If you had 10 problems, 8 of those would be equations that involve some positive value. One possibly would be equal to 0, and one would be equal to a negative. So this one, remember, inside could be a positive or negative 8. Okay, I'm going to subtract 5. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. I should have x equals negative 3 halves here, and x equals 13 halves here. Remember to substitute back in and see if you get a positive 8 when you put in negative 3 halves, and you get a negative 8 when you substitute in 13 halves. This one. I always like these, but you never get enough of them. Absolute value cannot equal a negative, so this should be no solution. Okay? No real solution. So that's it for this part. Thank you.